This is KUGAN CASSIUS for iFLTV. Delighted to be joined by CHANTELLE Cameron, who clearly isn't in the UK with today's. How are you? All right?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm in Portugal and loving the weather. It's nice. Good to be out of England for a bit.
We had a good week last week, and this week it's like back to normal. So yeah,
England for you, it's literally 1 minute is nice, then it's raining, then it's getting hot again, then it's grey clouds. So I was had enough. Come to Portugal for a bit of training.
don't blame you. Don't blame you. Um, right. So obviously, yeah. I mean, this isn't kind of new news as such, but relatively new. Um, but you have linked up now with MVP,
Yeah.
Nikita, Jake Paul, etc. Just talk to me about how that all come about.
Yeah, so it was a little bit of a strange one because I had one fight left with Queensbury and I was due to be boxing June the 28th in London. But it's just I think it was Anto mainly and George were like discussing things and talking. George is good friends with Nikita and it made sense to join the most valuable promotions because the investment they're putting into women's boxing, the shows they're going to be putting on, and it's where the fights are for me as well. They're going to be signing up all the girls that I could potentially fight. So it's like a really positive way that it come about because everyone worked together, and it was the promoters looked for my best interest. So it was a really nice and positive way that it all come about.
Yeah, just from the outside, it seems a no-brainer that kind of the investment they're putting into women's boxing at the minute is kind of unmatched with anyone else out there. So
Yeah, it's huge, and like look at the shows they're putting on, and they're really getting behind women's boxing. Where I feel like women's boxing took a massive dip. It's kind of slowed right down. The pace of it's slowed right down. It's the fights ain't really happening. It's hard to get the big fights, but Jake Paul and Nikita, they've really thrown themselves into it and took a massive gamble and signing up all the females. Where I think it's going to start making waves again.
yeah, absolutely. So you're taking on Jessica Kamara on
Yeah,
on the 11th of July at Madison Square Garden. We know about Kamara because obviously you guys were all involved in that kind of tournament style thing a few years ago, uh,
yeah.
etc. So yeah, I mean Jessica Kamara had that fight with Caroline Dubois. What did you make of that?
So to be honest, I never watched it. I don't really watch that much boxing.
Yeah,
Obviously I heard about it and I read about it, but it was a draw because of the head clashes. But
yeah,
I know that Caroline dropped her. I've not watched it, so it's hard to say, it's hard to comment, but they're both great fighters and styles make fights, so I kind of don't look at it as what someone else done and what I'm going to do because I think styles make completely different fights and your style can either gel or it could be the worst style put together. But I know that I've got a lot of respect for Jessica. She's tough, she's technical, she's experienced, but I've got so much on the line here, so I have to come in here and just give it everything and give them all. So this is my world title fight because I know what's coming after it.
yeah. Look, any fights you have at this stage of your career, it's going to be with someone with the caliber of Jessica um, Kamara. So
Yeah.
there's no backward steps for you. There's no like tick
No,
up for you.
I wouldn't even want a backward step either. I think if I took a backward step, it's doing me no favors. And last year, last year, obviously, I had them two fights and I did get the two wins, but I kind of did feel like it was a little bit of a backward step. So I'm glad to be in again with someone that I know is a big threat. But don't get me wrong, last year that there were threats. Everyone's a threat who you're in with because anyone can beat you if you have an off day. But there were just fights that I didn't couldn't really get my teeth stuck into. And it was quite hard to get myself motivated because I didn't know what was gonna be at the end of it. Obviously I knew if you win it's great because you got the win. But I was like looking at will I ever get a shot at these belts again? Because I had no idea. Whereas now it's kind of like the carrot's been dangled. As long as I get this win, I'm gonna get the opportunity to become world champion again. So it's just a little bit different for me mentally.
When I did speak to Katie Taylor a few months ago, at game launch for Undisputed, which again wasn't that long ago, she said her plan this year was to complete the trilogy fights with Serrano and yourself. So
Yeah,
one of that is obviously happening on July the 11th. Uh,
yeah,
Dependent on the outcome, obviously, of that, then that then has kind of direct influence to how your second half of 2025 is going to go.
yeah, definitely. Like, who knows? Like, her beating Amanda is a big ask because obviously the last two fights were very close, a little bit controversial. So if Katie loses, then will the trilogy with me and Katie even make sense? There'll be no belts on the line. It would just be a trilogy that's one apiece. Like, let's be honest, the trilogy should have happened before. It should have happened when the iron was hot, but that wasn't my fault, or there was no reason for it not to happen. Everything was accepted. The date was set, the venue was set, and then next thing I got a phone call saying Katie Taylor wanted to fight her planetary because she wanted an easier fight before she took me on, which is fair enough. That was her decision, but I was a bit like, the trilogy. It could have happened back then where she kind of she ducked it, but then luckily enough, it come around that she ended up making millions because she started negotiations with Amanda. But before the negotiations with Amanda, me and Katie we were kind of set. I accepted a lot less money than the first two fights. I was going back to Dublin. The date was set. Everything was set, and then she turns around and wanted to fight an easier fight. So it should have happened way back, but it didn't. So if it happens, I'm going to be ecstatic because I want the redemption, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. If it was to happen, I'd be shocked, to be honest.
Chantel, let me just ask you, if Amanda is to beat Katie Taylor,
Yeah.
then does it open it up for the possibility of both of those fights, not necessarily just targeting Serrano then if she beats Taylor?
So Amanda isn't a 140-pounder fighter.
Mm,
So Amanda, she'll move back down to her natural weight. So Amanda's fighting Katie at 136 pounds, but this isn't even Amanda's weight category.
yeah.
So if Amanda was to win, I imagine that she'll end up vacating the belt straight away because it's not her natural weight, and she'll go back down to her natural weight and fight people around her own weight category.
So, yeah, so in a nutshell, really, whatever Katie does in that fight, that's what you're targeting for your next fight,
Yeah, basically.
basically. But it would be obviously handy if she completes her trilogy and then you get your chance in that way as well.
Oh, 100%. It's a little bit, I'm on both sides because selfishly, obviously, I'm rooting for Katie to get the win because I want to fight for the belts again. I want to become undisputed at 140 pounds again. But the other part of me and so my head is saying I want Katie to win because business wise and for my own selfish reasons, I want to fight for the belts. But my heart is I'm a fan of Amanda Serrano. I get on with Amanda Serrano, and I would like to see her win. But if Amanda wins, the belts are up in the air. Um, Everything changes. So I'm just literally just going to sit back, enjoy the fight, and what I've learned with boxing, whatever happens, it happens. You can't fight boxing. You can't plan for the future. You just got to take it as it comes.
Do you anticipate having obviously this fight on July the 11th and then just one more kind of towards the back end of the year? That'll be your two fights this year?
I imagine so. Yeah, that's what Anto is kind of asked for. So box July, and then box at the end of the year.
Okay. Yeah, like huge show, Netflix, July the 11th at Madison
Yeah,
Square Garden again. I'm sure it'll do ridiculous numbers. It's an unbelievable platform, to be honest with you. The numbers that we've seen kind of from what they've done in a
it's
very short space of
crazy numbers. Yes, the numbers are crazy, and they're good fights they're putting on as well.
yeah.
All the females on the card, they're in good fights. So it's going to be entertaining.
Have you had predominantly conversations with Nikita or Jake or both or what?
So mainly Nikisa. I spoke to him a fair bit and very nice guy.
Okay. Have you had any kind of conversations with Jake Paul?
Yeah, I was in a lift with him in New York, and he was actually saying that when he was watching my rematch with KE, he thought I'd won, so he turned the TV off. And then next thing, when he was online, he seen I'd lost, and he said he was shocked. But yeah, that was it. We were just talking about that really in the lift. But again, very nice guy, very approachable.
Yeah, and like I said, he's not going to say he's like, well, I could say it. Currently he's the saviour for women's boxing, 100%, because
I agree. I say
yeah,
he's saving women's boxing. It was taking a massive dip, and it was falling apart. And I know a lot of the females just wasn't getting the fights. So no, I say he's come and he's saving it.
100%. You take MVP, you take Jake Paul, Nikita out of the whole boxing equation, and like you said, women's boxing probably has taken a dip over the last year or so.
Yeah.
So what position would it be in then if they weren't kind of invested in to do what they're doing?
So do you know what the mad thing is as well? I had my last fight with Queensbury, and I was on a great deal with Queensbury. I was on a really good deal. I was very lucky, and because my last fight was coming up, and I knew the way that women's boxing had took a U-turn
Yeah,
and the massive dip, I generally thought that was me finished because I thought the promoters ain't backing the women how they used to be. So it would have been hard for me to get fights, not get paid like what I have been getting paid, and all the camps, the money you invest in your camps and everything that goes with it. I was prepared to be like, this is it now. Like this is I've earned my money. I've become undisputed, and it's no point really doing it if the same the same like what's the word like benefits weren't there. So
yeah.
it's come at just a crazy time.
Right, just picking this back up. If people are wondering why the background isn't there, your phone went through the temperature thing and basically it's working. You had to cool it down.
That's cool to find out. It literally cut out.
All right. Well, listen, I've just my last question here with this. I was saying that Boxer put that card on a few years ago, well, not that long ago, with Shields and Marshall, and which is a big event here in the UK. But this card here is literally stacked with the who's who of women's boxing, like Alicia Baumgardner, Savannah Marshall, Ellie Scotney. They're all on the card as well.
Yeah, it's crazy the fighters that are on it. It's going to be such a good card. I think every fight on the card is going to be worth watching, and people don't want to miss it because they're going to be good 50-50 fights.
Absolutely. Right. Chantel, have you got anything else you'd like to add before we finish?
Just that I'm excited to be on this card in Madison Square Gardens, and just very grateful really that Queensbury, Anto, George and Frank and Akisa and Jake Paul just got this deal done so easy, and it was the most easiest deal to get done, and I'm just glad that it was done, and there's all good feelings now. Like there's no like animosity, and everyone's getting along, and yeah, I'm just happy about it.
It's great when everyone works together, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It just makes life easier. There's no dramas, no stress. It's just that they all just come together and was just looking after the fighter, which isn't really common in boxing. They all kind of like put the fighter first for once and see an opportunity and wanted me to have it. So I'm just really glad that it's come around this way. And also I've teamed up with Stephen Smith now, so that's good as well. I'm loving life.
How's that relationship been going with Stephen?
Oh, it's great. He's a really nice guy, great trainer, and he's very understanding of boxing because obviously he's a boxer himself. So it's very hands-on, caring, but also like knows how to push you without overdoing you. And it's just a good um team that I've joined up to. I'm really happy with it. It was come at the right time as well. I think all this has just happened at amazing timing. It couldn't have come any better.
Mm.
Everything around me, I've just done it all at the right time, the correct way, and I'm just in a good place. And now we just got to enjoy it.
Good to hear. So it's quite clear for you. 11th July, the target is to beat Jessica, and then get that fight with Katie. Whatever happens with Katie and her fight, get that trilogy fight this year, unless you're 2025.
It ain't just about beating Jessica. It's I've got to perform. I've got to do it in good fashion and remind everyone that I'm the best 140 pounder. And there's a reason that the trilogy with me never happened. So that's what I've got to do. Make everyone see that there's a reason the trilogy happened. There's a reason the trilogy never happened with me and Katie. It's one apiece, and the fight was there to be made, and it was not my reason that it didn't happen. So I just want everyone to see that with their own eyes.
Okay, Chantel, much appreciate your time, and
Thank you.
we'll definitely catch up ahead of July the 11th again. So,
Well,
best of luck.
thank you. Cheers. Appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Bye.